Hey everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files coming at you today with a new video, and today we're going to be doing a character spotlight. The reason why I wanted to do this was because over the past weekend I was with a couple of other Godzilla YouTubers on Leslie Chambers' channel talking about the 70s Godzilla films. And this got me talking about one of my favorite films, Godzilla vs. Gigan. And to me, that film actually has a pretty interesting main character. He's very different from the rest of the series. So today we're going to be looking at Gengo. So in past Godzilla films, we are used to the hero scientist or the hero reporter, leading the charge when it comes to the plot. These are characters that are in some ways idealistic of what, a hero should be. They are smart, men of action, they are everything that we strive to be. But when you actually look at Gengo, he's probably one of the more realistic human characters in the Godzilla series. Even from little things like him trying to find a job. That's something that we did not see in past Godzilla films. Most of our main characters already had a job, and it was, the driving force behind something in the plot. Whether it's a reporter trying to stop the human villain in the movie, or the scientist trying to figure out a way to stop a kaiju, these are all things that were driving the plot, and they all thought they were doing good, and overall enjoyed what they were doing. In this film, Gengo is actually more like us. No one likes working. He doesn't either. Even when he gets a job, he's complaining. That is something that pretty much everyone does, no matter where they're working, and even if they enjoy what they do, you're still going to complain from time to time. So he definitely feels like a real person. And that's something I actually really do like about him, and something that we don't see very often in Godzilla films, because the characters are usually exaggerated in different ways. And one of these ways is they're usually men of action or very heroic. And Gengo isn't really that at all. There are many times in this film where he just lets the bad guys do something or just shows off how weak he is. And while yes, this does make him kind of a funny character in a ways, and maybe a disappointing hero, it does show what a real person would probably do in a situation. For example, when he's being held up for the tape, he believes there is a gun pointed in the back of him. And in past films, we would have seen the hero turn around, grab the gun, but he doesn't do that. He is stumbling over his words, he doesn't know what to do, and finally he passes out. Well, yes, the person wasn't actually holding a gun to him, but he didn't know that. And I feel that that's actually a normal response. I don't think most people would try to do something heroic. We would all probably listen to what the person was saying and do exactly what they wanted. Now, do I wish he was a little bit more heroic? Yes. When the aliens come into the apartment, he is only saved because his girlfriend, who knows karate, takes them all out. And that's disappointing. I really want him to have that moment. But that's just not his character. And it makes sense. If you see someone holding a gun, you're not jumping at them to fight them. But in past Godzilla films, like I said, we are used to seeing that. He's not even that athletic. When he's running up the stairs of the Godzilla Tower, he's getting tired and winded. He doesn't want to be there anymore. He's just hoping to die on the steps. And it is funny. Again, he is not a hero. He is just someone that was working 9 to 5, that stumbled onto these things, and now has to deal with it. And it's one of his more endearing qualities because he's always trying to do the right thing. Whether that is trying to help the woman meet up with her brother again, he goes through great lengths. Whether trying to find information about him, trying to see where he is in the tower. He's doing all these things, to the best of his ability, which honestly does not work out very well for him. But it actually does help him in the long run because I think the villains underestimate him. They don't think he's very smart, and throughout most of the film, he's proving them correct. But when it comes to the end, he actually plays a very big part in destroying the Godzilla Tower. He gets the army to fill up the elevator with all the dynamite, and then he draws a photo of everybody, and, it blows up. So without him, we probably would still have the Godzilla Tower destroying Godzilla. So while yes, maybe he's not going to be the hero that we all want or we idolize, he's definitely more of a real life person. And I think that is his charm. I think you can relate to him in a lot of different ways, whether it's looking for a job and the stress of doing that. He really does feel like a fleshed out character, which is pretty rare in a Godzilla film overall. Now, I do think unfortunately he is in a film that people kind of dismiss, but I think if people actually gave it a chance and went back and looked at a lot of it, there's probably a lot here that people are missing. And even for myself, I'm sure maybe the director was making some kind of statement on the youth of Japan. But to me, I still really like him. I think he is a fascinating character. He's not what you would expect from a Godzilla film, and to me that's what makes him so special. But alright guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think about Gengo? Is he one of your favorite characters? And what about Godzilla vs. Gigan? Is that a favorite film of yours? But as always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you all later.